Hi, everybody. It's April Biss. I had a couple questions about how to work with layers in Illustrator. So I just wanted to make this really quick video, how-to video. Hopefully this will kind of help you understand it a little bit better. So layers can be found if you don't have it on your workspace. Go up to Window on your menu bar and go to Layers. And layers works, and I like to describe it as, think of it as you're layering papers on a table. Whatever is on the top layer will be the first thing that you see because everything else is going to be underneath it, kind of like a pile of papers. So let's show you, for example, I'm just going to do a star here. And I'm just going to color this red. And your layers appears in this panel. The layer 1 will be a default layer. You can always rename this layer. If you just double click right on top of it, you can rename it, hit return or enter to enter the new name. The layer will be assigned a color, which is this little block here. And you can hide this layer if you want to by just clicking this little eyeball. All right, so we created this star. It's on this first layer. Let's go ahead and create another shape. I'm going to do this time a circle. And I'm going to make this just green. Do some holiday colors here. And you can tell that this circle is on the same star layer because not only is it showing on this layer, but it also has this blue bounding box. So whatever is on this layer will have this blue bounding box. Now let's say you wanted to make this star go above the green circle, go forward, I should say, so that you don't see, you see all of the star and some of the circle. Well, there's two ways that you can do this. If you don't want to work in layers, you can always select the object that you want to move forward or backwards. So we're going to select the star, for instance. And we're going to go up to object on your menu bar. I don't know if you guys can see that fully, but if you go up to your menu bar, it's under object and go to arrange, bring to front. So that's kind of the easy way to do it. So if you don't have a lot going on in your project, say you only have a few elements that you're working with, you don't necessarily have to assign everything a layer just because it's a little monotonous and just sometimes it makes it harder. But if you have a very technical illustration, meaning like there's a lot of details in it, then layers make sense. But just to get the idea of how this works too, that was just on the same layer, but that's another option that you can do. You can also bring forward, say, the other shape if you'd like to, the same way. Just go to arrange, bring to front. Bring to front and send to back will do exactly that. Bring forward, let's say if I had more than one element in there, say if I had, let's go ahead and do like a square. I'll show you here. Let's do a yellow square. Oops. And let's say I want to bring this forward, but not so much where it goes over the yellow square. So if I go to arrange and I just say, instead of bring to front, I just say bring to forward. It'll kind of put it in between these two elements. And the same thing goes for send to back. Send to back is all the way in the back, send backward. Send backward is all the way to back, and send to back would be the next layer if there's another element there. Now, if you wanted to say assign these two different layers, this is how you would do it. So the top layer is always going to be the one that you see first. So let's go ahead and create a new layer. You can do so by clicking this little plus sign down below here. It says create new layer. The nice thing about the Adobe programs is they act very intuitively. So you don't even have to click on this and make that decision yet to click on it. It'll kind of, if you hover your arrow over, it'll tell you what that is. Another way you can add a layer, and I just added that, you can see layer 2 just popped up, is if you go on the right-hand side of your panel box, where these three little lines are. If you click on that button on the very top right, there's always options on each panel if you click on the upper right-hand corner here. And you can see here there's an option for a new layer. Don't let all of this other stuff confuse you. There's a ton of stuff in these programs that you won't be using for this particular class. Every Adobe program is kind of like a monster in itself where, you don't necessarily, not all designers use every single thing and tool available. So just kind of focus on what I'm telling you, and hopefully you'll kind of understand a little bit better. So you can do new layers as well here. And if you do it that way, it will give you an option pop-up box to name this layer. So let's go ahead and name this green circle. And you can even assign the color here, but I'm just going to leave it. Click OK. Now my layer 2 wasn't really named. I just created it because I clicked on this little plus sign. So I'm going to double click on that. I'm going to name this yellow square. Okay. So I have 3 elements I want to place on 3 different layers. Right now, they're all in this layer. And how I know that is I can see that they're all in this little thumbnail layer. Plus, when I click on them, they have that blue assigned box. If you want to assign a specific element to a specific layer, go ahead and select it. So I'm going to do the yellow. And just selecting that with your selection tool is all that you need. Go to your layer panel box, see the little blue square. And all you're going to do, you're not going to move this entire layer up, just the little square, that little blue square. You're just going to assign it to the layer that you want it to be assigned to. Drag and drop that. When you drag and drop that onto this assigned layer that you want, you'll notice that it will move to that layer and the color will coordinate with that little square next to that layer. So you kind of understand, you don't necessarily have to look in the layer panel. You can see that it is on a different layer because it's a different color. Okay, let's try it for the green. Select green. Again, we're going to drag and drop it all the way up to the green circle. And you'll also notice when I did that, look what happened to the green circle. Now it's above all of the other elements. And why is that? Because in this layer panel, whatever's on the top is going to be what you see first. So if I hide that, you'll see kind of the yellow. If I hide the yellow, you'll see the star. So these are all in order based on the one thing that's on the top, the elements that's on the very top is going to be what you see first. Okay. So just be aware of that. Now, let's say you wanted to move the green circle layer in between the yellow and star. You can do that very easily. Just select it with your selection tool, the element that you want to move. Instead of moving the little square this time, we're going to move the whole layer. So make sure it's all selected with the blue highlight. I would suggest just clicking over here to click and drag it so it's not over the name, or else it's going to ask you to rename it. Click and drag it down. You'll see a little like blue line appear. And once you see that, just drag and drop it down where you want it to go. So right there, you just assigned that layer to go in underneath the yellow square. So you can see that it moved right underneath. Again, you can hide each of these by hitting just the little eyeball. Sometimes that's helpful. Again, you could click and drag on it depending on what you want to do. All right, so, and you could also delete it. Say if you didn't want this yellow layer at all, you could just drag and drop it down in the little trash can, or you can select it and hit trash and say yes. All right, well, I hope this helped, and go forward with your projects.